You know how sometimes you meet someone and within minutes it just clicks? Yeah, that's what I thought this was. I met him on a dating app, clean profile, charming messages. His name was Arjun, mid-30s, art consultant, witty, quick replies, and those kinds of photos where he's not flexing, but you can tell he knows he looks good. We talked for a week. He suggested this little rooftop restaurant in Lower Parel. Classy, quiet, not too flashy. Said he loved the vibe there. I won't lie, I was excited. Hadn't been on a date in months. Dressed nice. Took a cab. Reached 10 minutes early. He was already there, and he stood up when he saw me. That old-school, polite kind of gesture. Smiled wide, complimented my dress. I smiled back. Everything about him screamed perfect. We ordered cocktails and starters. He told me stories, his work, travels, gallery visits. The way he spoke, the confidence, it was intoxicating. But about 30 minutes in, something changed. It started with the waitress. We just finished our starters. Arjun was mid-sentence, talking about some antique statue he'd helped recover. And then the waitress, mid-20s, wearing a black apron, hair tied back, came to refill our water. She wasn't looking at him. She was looking straight at me, and then she dropped a napkin near my foot. Bending down, she slipped it into my lap. So smooth, I almost missed it. Then she leaned closer, like pretending to clear a plate, and whispered, so quietly I almost didn't catch it, "Leave now. He comes here every week with a new girl." Last one ran out screaming. I froze. I didn't even look at the napkin. My face just stayed smiling. But inside, my heartbeat tripled. I excused myself to the bathroom, told Arjun I'd be back in a second. He smiled and nodded, cool as ever. I took my purse, walked to the hallway near the restrooms, and didn't go in. Instead, I kept walking, right out the staff exit. It was dark out, humid. I remember my sandals slipping a little on the pavement. I kept walking fast until I hit the main road. Found an auto, gave my address, and jumped in. The guy driving asked me twice if I was okay. I must have looked pale. I didn't say a word till I got home. When I finally got to my room, I sat on the floor and pulled out the napkin. My hands were shaking. It had one sentence, written in black pen. "Trust me, just run." And under that, a phone number, probably the waitress's. I didn't call it. Instead, I looked up Arjun's profile on the dating app. It was gone, like just gone, deleted, like he never existed. And then my phone started buzzing. It was him, Arjun, call after call, 37 in total. From the time I left the restaurant to 3 a.m. I didn't pick up any of them, but the voicemails, some were calm. "Hey, where'd you go?" Others weren't. "You think you can just leave like that? After the night we were having?" One of them just said, in a whisper, "I saw you slip out the back." I blocked the number, but the messages kept coming. New numbers every time. One said, "Don't be like the last one." Another, "You ruined it. You were supposed to stay." I started sleeping with the light on. A few days later, I got curious. Against my better judgment, I went back to that restaurant in the daytime. Just walked in, hoping to spot the waitress. She wasn't there. I asked one of the staff, described her. He looked confused. "We haven't had anyone fitting that description. Not for months." I left, heart racing. Did I imagine it? Back home, I searched online. His face, his name, nothing. No social media, no LinkedIn, no traces, like he was a ghost. But the worst part? Weeks later, I got a brown envelope at my door. No return address. Inside, a photo. Me, sitting at the table during the date. Smiling, looking at him. Taken from just a few feet away. I moved houses, changed numbers. New phone, no more dating apps. But even now, once in a while, I get a text from a random number. Always the same 2 words. "Still watching." And once, Outside my office building, I saw him, or someone who looked like him, standing far off, just staring. I blinked, and he was gone. Now I check over my shoulder. I don't eat at rooftop places. I don't trust charming smiles. And I definitely don't ignore gut feelings. Because that night taught me something. Not every first date ends with goodbye. Some of them, they follow you home. You know how people say, trust your gut? Yeah, I didn't, and I paid for it. I'm just a regular girl living in the city. Work, friends, coffee shops, swiping left more than right. Nothing crazy. I've been on some weird dates before. Sure, but this was different. It started normal, almost too normal. I met this guy, Darren, on a dating app. His profile was clean, no red flags. Tall, soft-spoken, had this serious look but kinda sweet vibe too. Said he worked in finance. He texted with punctuation, asked about my day, sent memes. That alone felt like a green flag in this mess of a dating world. We chatted for 2 weeks before meeting. First date was at this rooftop cafe. He showed up right on time. Dark jeans, gray hoodie, really clean shoes. Polite, a little shy. I actually liked that. He asked questions, but not in a nosy way. More like observant. He remembered little things I said, like the way I take my coffee or that I hate loud chewing. He laughed at my dumb jokes, paid for my drink, even walked me to my Uber. No pressure, no creepy comments. It was good. Too good? Second date was a movie. He didn't even try to pull any moves. Just watched, whispered something funny at one point, and held the door for me afterward. Again, normal, comfortable. I started letting my guard down. Third date, he came over to my place. That's when things started to feel weird. So that night, we ordered food, watched a movie, talked a lot. I remember thinking, wow, this is actually working. He complimented my apartment, my books, even said he liked the scent of my shampoo. At the time, I thought, attentive. But then he asked, can I stay over? It was late, raining, and we'd had a few drinks, so I said okay. We didn't hook up. We just slept. Or at least I tried to. He lay stiff, barely moved, didn't snore. No phone checking, no tossing. At one point, I swear he was staring at the ceiling, smiling. Just a tiny smile. I brushed it off. Told myself I was overthinking. I was tired. But at exactly 3:04 a.m., I woke up. Something was off. I felt this weird pressure, like someone was watching me. My eyes opened. It was dark, but I could see his figure. He was standing over me, fully dressed, shoes on, jacket zipped, just staring down at me. I jumped. Darren, what the hell? He didn't move, just said, really calm and low, you look so peaceful when you don't talk. I didn't even know how to respond. I sat up, heart thudding. Dude, what are you doing? Still no movement, just a slow blink. Then he stepped back like it was normal, sat on the edge of the bed. No explanation. I got up, grabbed my phone, walked to the living room. I called my best friend, Jess. Told her to come pick me up now. I lied, said something urgent came up. Darren didn't protest, just watched me, didn't blink much, didn't ask what happened, didn't say goodbye. He just stood in the hallway, whispering as I left. You looked better asleep. The next morning, I blocked him. Everywhere. App, WhatsApp, Instagram, even changed my settings. But it wasn't over. The texts came in from unknown numbers. All between 2 and 4 a.m. Are you awake yet? You looked cold last night. Your breathing slows down at 3:12. It was like he'd memorized the rhythm of my sleep. I started sleeping with the lights on. Stopped staying at my apartment alone. Even got new locks. But it didn't matter. One night, Jess and I crashed at her place. Her buzzer went off. At 3:06 a.m., we didn't answer. 10 minutes later, she got a message from her Instagram. You have pretty friends too. That's when I knew he'd found her profile. Through me. Next day, I went to the police. Showed them everything. They said, creepy, yes, but no physical threat yet. They couldn't do much unless he broke in or touched me. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. I was jumping at every shadow. I deleted all my social media. Moved apartments. But it's been months. No more messages. No buzzers at 3 a.m. No whispers in the hallway. But here's what still gives me chills. A week after I moved, I got a letter. No return address. Inside was a single Polaroid. Me, asleep, in my old bed. Timestamp in the corner, 3:13 a.m. It was taken before that night, before I knew anything was wrong. And on the back, in shaky handwriting, that was my favorite one. That's it. No more messages after that. But I still wake up sometimes, gasping at 3 a.m., convinced I'm being watched.
Eve checked cameras, windows, closets.
Nothing, but the feeling's still there, like he's just waiting. So, if you ever wake up in the middle of the night and feel someone staring at you, don't ignore it. People say you should never fall for someone online. I wish I had listened. I'm not some naive teenager. I'm 29. I live in Mumbai, work in tech, and I've been through a couple of real relationships. But I've also been lonely. You know what I mean? Life gets repetitive. Friends drift. The city's loud. But inside, silence. That's when I met her, Anya. We connected on this language learning app. She said she was trying to learn Hindi and had just moved to India from Singapore. We started chatting. Just light stuff at first, music, food, memes. She had this profile pic, black and white, close-up of her face, this little smirk in the corner of her mouth. Her eyes looked straight through the screen. I couldn't stop looking at it. She told me about her dog, her love for Korean dramas, her hate for coriander. The way she typed felt real, human, warm. No video calls, though. Every time I asked, she had some excuse. Bad Wi-Fi, sick dog, flatmates around. I didn't push it. We messaged every day. Voice notes, late-night texts, even phone calls sometimes, but never video. I didn't care. Felt real. That was my first mistake. I started changing my routine for her. Waking up earlier just to hear her voice before work. Skipping drinks with coworkers because I knew she'd call. She said she lived alone, worked remotely in marketing, and didn't know many people in the city yet. I felt responsible, like I was her person. And then came the money. It was casual at first, just a rant over text. Ugh. Lost my wallet today at the metro. ID, cards, everything gone. I asked if she was okay. She said she was embarrassed, didn't want to ask anyone else, just needed enough for groceries and a cab. It wasn't a lot. 3,000 Indian rupees. I sent it, and she sent back this voice note. Soft, teary-eyed thanks. Said she owed me one. Promised to pay me back first thing. I believed her, because she sounded real. Then came the big day. She said she was finally ready to meet. I was shaking that morning. Shaved, wore my favorite cologne, even skipped breakfast. We were supposed to meet at this cafe in Bandra, 12:30 p.m. I reached by noon. By 1, no show. No call. I messaged, "Hey, running late?" No response. By 2, I started panicking. Called straight to voicemail. By 3, I knew. I sat there for 2 more hours. My coffee got cold. My legs numb. My heart was racing, but my stomach was dead still. I walked home in a daze. That night, her profile was gone. Not deactivated. Gone. Like it never existed. Our entire message history on the app, deleted. I tried calling again. The number was switched off, and I felt this hollow feeling in my chest, like someone had scooped out a part of me and ran away with it. I knew I'd been played, but I wasn't ready for what I found next. I ran a reverse image search on her profile photo. Took 5 seconds to crush me. Her face belonged to a travel influencer in Canada. 200K followers. Same photos, same dog, same little smirk. I scrolled through the account. There she was at cafes, on beaches, in airports. All those images Anya had sent me? Straight from this woman's feed. Every single one. I sat on the floor of my room and didn't move for an hour. I told this person everything. Things I hadn't told my ex. They knew how I thought, how I felt, when I was alone, when I was weak. They had me and I had nothing. It should have ended there, but it didn't, because a week later I got a text from an unknown number. Miss me. It started with that one message. I didn't reply. Then another, you looked sad today. Why? And another, don't try to replace me. I blocked the number. A new one popped up. Different code. Different digits. Same voice. She'd send voice notes. Garbled, low whispers. Sometimes laughing. Sometimes crying. One had her just breathing for 45 seconds straight. I went to the cops. They shrugged. Unless there's a physical threat, not much we can do. They advised I change my number, so I did. It didn't help. 2 days later, I got a handwritten note slipped under my door. You were mine first. I hadn't told her my address. Ever. I moved out. Changed jobs. Threw away my old phone. Deleted every app one used to talk to her. But she, or whoever she was, never fully went away. Once every few months, a number I don't recognize will call. I won't pick up, but they'll leave a voicemail. Sometimes it's her voice saying, I still think about you. Sometimes it's just silence. And once I swear I heard myself. A recording of me from an old voice note I'd sent her. Played back. Distorted. Echoing. Like she'd saved everything. Now I don't use dating apps. I keep my windows locked. I don't post online, because I don't know if she's still watching, if she ever really stopped, if she ever really existed at all. So if you're talking to someone who feels real but never wants to meet, ask yourself one question. What if they're real enough to ruin you? Look, I've dated some strange people in my life, but this one was insane. Started normal, like all horror stories do. I met Aaron at a small bar in the city. He was soft-spoken, polite, a little shy, wore these old band tees and leather boots like he'd walked out of a late-night indie film. We hit it off fast.
Textning till 2 AM.
Inside jokes. Coffee dates. He wasn't like the other guys. He actually listened. Remembered things I said. Took time with his words. After 2 weeks, he invited me to his apartment. Now, his place wasn't fancy. Top floor of this old house that had been split into flats. But it was clean. Decorated in a weird, artsy way. Records on the wall, vintage lamps, no real theme. But cozy. We spent the whole weekend together. Watched movies. Cooked pasta. Slept on his couch. It felt like I'd finally met someone normal in a city full of weirdos. Or so I thought. It didn't get strange until the third visit. I was in his bathroom brushing my teeth when I noticed something off. A tube of lipstick in the cabinet. Not just any lipstick used. The cap had a tiny bite mark like someone chewed it. It wasn't mine. I asked him about it. He shrugged. Probably left by a friend. Or maybe my sister. She visited last month. Okay, weird, but fine. Next time I stayed over, I took a shower. When I woke up the next morning, the towels were wet again. Thing is, I hadn't showered. Neither had he. The next week, I came over after work. Walked in, and instantly I felt it. Someone had been here. The couch pillow was flipped, the fridge door slightly open, the smell of perfume in the air. Not mine. I asked, did someone come by? He said, nope, just me. Then he looked away, quick, like he didn't want me reading his face. My stomach started doing that slow turn thing. You know? When your gut's screaming but your brain's trying to stay polite. That night I couldn't sleep. And then I saw her. It was around 3 a.m. I got up to get water. Erin's place had this creaky old staircase leading from the living room to the small attic bedroom. I was halfway down when I saw movement on the stairs. At first I thought it was Erin. But it wasn't. There was a woman, sitting halfway down the steps. Long, dark hair, barefoot, wearing a loose gray t-shirt. Her head was tilted slightly, just watching me. I froze. I whispered, "Hello." She didn't blink, didn't move, just sat there like she was waiting for me to say something stupid. Then she said, "You shouldn't be here." My heart started pounding. "Who are you?" I asked. She stood up slowly and said, "I live here. You're just the other woman." That's when I realized this wasn't some stranger. This was his ex. The one he never mentioned. The one he said ended things months ago. I backed away, trying to stay calm. "Where's Erin?" I asked. She tilted her head. "He's asleep. He always sleeps through me screaming." That sentence hit me like a truck. I grabbed my phone and went back upstairs to wake him up. Shook him, whispered, "There's a woman here. She says she lives here." He mumbled, "What?" Eyes barely open. "You're dreaming. Go back to bed." I pulled him up. "She's in your house." He blinked at me like I was crazy. "No one's here. You're stressed. Probably tired." That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. I turned around and she was in the room, just standing in the doorway, eyes wide, lips trembling. Then she screamed, "You lied to me. You said she was your coworker." She lunged. I barely got out of the way. She clawed at my arm, tore my sleeve. I screamed, trying to push her off. Erin stood there, still, not stopping her, not helping, just watching. I grabbed my phone and called the police with shaking hands. The woman backed off when she saw me dialing, but not before she whispered, "He told me you were just a distraction." When the cops arrived, she was crying in the corner. I was bleeding from my arm. The place was a mess. Erin, he stood there like a statue. When they asked what happened, he said, "I don't know. They were fighting. I didn't do anything. Didn't do anything." Like it wasn't his apartment. Like she wasn't his ex. Police separated us, asked questions. Turns out, she'd been living there the whole time. Downstairs, in the locked room, he said was storage. He never told me, never even mentioned her. She thought they were still together. She wasn't crazy. He was just that good at lying. I moved out of the city after that. Changed my number. Got therapy. Erin never contacted me again. I heard from someone that he moved. No idea where. But that's not what haunts me. A month after I left, I got a package. No return address. Inside was that same lipstick I found in his bathroom. Taped to it was a note. He said it looked better on you. I disagree. That's when I realized she still had my address. She knew where I lived. So now I sleep with the door locked, the windows shut, and I never ignore a gut feeling again. Because sometimes the scariest people aren't ghosts. They're the ones still living right next to you.